Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Jacob, and I'm a sports guy.
And my name is Tim, and I'm not a sports guy.
No. You are not a sports guy, Tim. What are you? If you're not a sports guy, what are you? Have you thought about that?
No, what an excellent question. I feel like that's a very deep philosophical question. I don't know. We kind of talked about it last week, I guess, but there's not like a specific like definition. I don't guess I could give myself. I need to figure that out, really. You know.
I think that's part of this podcast. We're trying to help you find your identity. Right?
Yeah, but we're trying to help me identify as a sports guy. You know, so we're not really trying to clarify the other side of who I am. You know,
exactly. That's for you and you only. We kind of dove into it last week. You're right.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But we're back, y'all. We're back. Your weekly dose of not a sports guy basketball talk. Because this season is, of course, basketball.
What a way to advertise ourselves. If you guys don't like basketball, but you kind of do, come listen to us talk about basketball, kind of.
If you are a sports guy, and if you're not a sports guy, still come to the podcast and listen. And by the way, we're covering basketball. So if you didn't like basketball, you could still enjoy the entertainment of the podcast, but,
from at least my side of things.
Ooh, what about this? I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think you'll like this.
I was just going to insult you, so it's okay.
Oh, good then. I'm glad I did that. What if someone is a sports guy, but isn't a basketball guy?
Ooh.
So what if we are helping them like dive deeper into their sports fandom?
I love it. I hope that we're speaking to that person right now, but chances are probably pretty slim. You know, I mean, at this point, the season's
12.
halfway over. Yeah, the season's halfway over. We're well into this. But if you guys, the listeners, if you guys know somebody who's like really big into, lacrosse and ping pong, but they're not really into basketball, invite them to listen to us.
You might be going for like the wrong sports guy. I mean, we'll welcome them in, open arms. But like, have you ever met someone that's just like, no, I'm just into lacrosse and ping pong only?
Well, I'm just giving examples, but you don't have to be so exclusive.
Well, no,
I'm
not trying to be.
Invite them, but like, there's no right kind of sports guy. I'm not a sports guy, and I'm on the show, so there's no. You can't be picky and trying to. Like,
I'm just saying you picked two sports that were pretty unique.
Bowling, okay. If you guys have a friend who likes bowling,
let them wait until around episode season 6. We'll cover.
I'm just
bowling.
Saying these things. That's soon. Okay, great.
No,
I'm just saying that like somebody who likes the big three. I like to call them the big three: basketball, football, and baseball. At least in the States,
exactly.
From what I've observed, those are kind of like if you like one, you're probably at least relatively familiar with the others. So I was trying to think outside the box. That's all it was. I'm sorry if I offended you or...
You didn't offend me. I hope I didn't offend anybody. You've worried me that now I've maybe offended somebody.
Well, if you guys do know somebody like that, this is the perfect time of year to be having these conversations with them because the Winter Olympics started Wednesday, 2 days ago.
Really?
Which is actually technically today as we're recording it. So we don't have any like good Olympics content to discuss. But shout out to the Olympics.
Go USA, baby. Go USA.
All the way.
All the way. We will, a few episodes back we had talked about saying that we were going to cover the Winter Olympics. Tim doesn't want to bring it back up. It's just
no, that's not what we said. We said we were going to cover the Summer Olympics this year, which aren't a thing. So
because it was last year. So this year is the Winter Olympics, but unfortunately it falls within the NBA season, so we can't really solely cover it. But next week we can give you a little bit of an update.
Yeah, we'll give a little snapshot of what's going on. How many gold medals
all of
USA's brought home?
We're gonna take them all home, Jake. I've got no clue. I don't even. Could you name one Winter Olympic sport other than like snowboarding?
Oh, I was gonna say. I wasn't gonna say snowboarding. I was gonna say what's Cool Runnings, bobsledding.
Bobsledding.
But is that even a true Olympic sport, or is it just from the movie Cool Runnings? Like, did they actually?
What is bobsledding exactly? Is that what's the one with the dogs out in front? What?
That's dog sledding, I think. I don't know. But
I think
have
it
you
is
not seen
dog.
Cool Runnings?
No, haven't seen
The movie
Cool
guy.
Runnings.
The movie guy, guys, has not seen Cool Runnings. Oh, it's such a great movie.
Tim, have you seen the Titanic?
No, but I don't claim to be a movie guy, okay? Cool Runnings is a phenomenal movie. It's about this American like bobsledding coach who goes to Jamaica and starts a Jamaican bobsledding team.
Ooh,
Obviously, they don't really have snow. They don't have the kind of climate or environment. So he has
right.
to teach them with like
True story?
I don't think it's based on a true story. But
Okay.
they do a really good job of kind of making it feel like a true story sports movie.
Okay.
It's good. You need to go watch it.
Really? I wanna
I
see it
love that
now.
movie.
So you're looking forward to bobsledding.
Oh,
That's
of
gonna
course.
alright. What
You can thank
about
John Candy for that.
Oh, there
He's
you
the
go.
coach.
Shout out John Candy. If you're
R.I.P.
Yeah, I almost said if you're listening, but
Yeah, he's listening up there.
that
You know, not a sports guy is blaring up in heaven.
Oh yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to think of any other Winter Olympic sports that I'm looking
The
forward
what's the one
to.
with the broom, the
'Cause,
shuffle
like,
thing? You know what
obviously,
I'm talking about?
snowboarding's probably the big one. What about, like, the skied long jump? You know what I'm talking about? Where they, like,
Mhm.
go all and then they, like, have to, like, lean and then, like,
Yo,
almost,
yeah,
like, all completely
yeah.
forward with the skis out front. That's pretty cool.
What about the one with, like, the broom and they're, like, shuffling? You know what I'm talking about?
Curling.
Curling, that's a
Oh,
classic. It's a
that's the one we're gonna follow. Go USA
Yes.
curling team.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
So, I don't know why I've always thought until this year that basketball was actually played in the, like, Olympics in the winter. That's not the case? It's the
No,
summer?
no.
Okay.
They
I mean, I
played
guess
it
that
in the
makes more
summer.
sense, right? Because that's their off season. So, I don't know why I thought I don't know.
Yeah, well, they actually started like it was crazy because last year's finals ended while like the USA Olympic team was already like preparing,
Really?
practicing already, over in Japan. So like as soon as the last game of the finals took place, Devin Booker, I want to say Chris Middleton and maybe Drew Holiday. I want to say it was those three players. Like immediately right after the finals flew over to Japan to play for
Wow.
the USA team. So it was pretty crazy. It almost overlapped.
Mhm.
But they were able to pull it off. But yeah, so that is a summer sport. USA took home gold last year. Go USA. Tim, can
Didn't
you
even
kind
know
of give
that.
me a little bit of a like exciting like cheer and
I mean, I don't wanna get political here, but no, I'm just kidding. No. Let's go, USA. I was gonna make a joke that I'm
can you
not
do a chant?
uh,
Go,
I'm
go, USA, USA, today, go. And then it
Did you
sounds
just
like
make
you're
that up?
chanting. Yeah, I did, but
I was beautiful. I love that.
it sounded
Go,
like you were
go,
chanting for
USA,
USA
USA,
today.
today. Yeah, the TV show?
Is it a TV? I thought it was like a
Like the
newspaper
morning
or something. Is it
No, yeah, it's like USA Today. Oh, it isn't. Oh, what am I thinking? I'm thinking of Good Morning
America?
America.
Maybe
Good
so.
Morning Ame Hey, we can make a chant for Good Morning America.
How would that sound?
Good morning, America. I don't know. It's just a song. It's not even a
Oh
chant.
my gosh. Could that be the new intro music?
Yeah, let's reach out to,
Good morning, America. Welcome to the Not a Sports Guy podcast, everybody. A
you've
show.
already actually welcomed everybody. I don't mean to cut you off there, but that's
Well,
already been
Tim
covered
doesn't want me to welcome you a second time. I was going to welcome you in again, but Tim,
with arms wide open. I'm sorry. No.
no, it's all right. Well, Tim, I was going to talk about you a little bit,
Ooh,
but
okay.
if,
Okay. Bring it
okay.
on.
Well, as we all know, hopefully, if you've been listening all the way through with us so far, this is a show where we log Tim's journey of becoming a sports fan. We've already talked about it a little bit. He's not a sports guy, but we're following the NBA. He's trying to get into it. And
Starting with baloncesto, and we're going to move on to some different sports in the future, but this is where we're at this season.
exactly this season. So
Baloncesto
next
is
season.
I'm sorry, you looked confused when I said that. That's basketball in Spanish.
Really? Is it
It
baloncesto?
I am like 83% confident.
I said it so white too. Baloncesto? I'm looking it up
You
right
said it
now.
way more like white and like
Yes, it's
American this second time.
baloncesto. How about
Ooh,
that?
that was good. Man, I felt like I was in the heart of South America when you said that. Baloncesto. I can't even do it that good. Golly.
Okay, don't hype me up too much, Tim. Don't hype me up too much. I want to remind everybody, okay? If you're listening, this may be your first time listening, who knows? Tim is the not a sports guy, okay? Tim's going to make hot takes.
I've made a few.
Tim has made hot takes. I've made hot takes, but Tim's hot takes might be a little bit more hot. Now, this is his first season following basketball, okay?
Yes.
He is taking it for what he sees right in front of him. He doesn't know the backstories. He doesn't know all of these players' careers. So he's going to make hot takes that might, hopefully it shouldn't upset you.
No,
Hopefully,
it's
if anything,
already,
you can kind of laugh.
No, I've ruffled some feathers. I've already got my first hater.
And we'll get to that because that hater is the listener of the week. So we'll talk about
give him
that
honor. Please don't do that. I mean,
Tim's first hater will be the listener of the week. So I'm excited to kind of get into that later. So hopefully you stick around so you can hear that conversation later.
Let me just say, I don't want to harp on it too much right now, but I am going to have to develop a thick skin because you're right. I think as we progress through this show, even as we move into different sports and in future seasons, that will likely be my first real experience with those sports. And I'm probably going to continue to make maybe some unusual, opinions made known. Right.
Right.
This guy, he really wasn't even that big of a hater. He just he made a statement and I was like so embarrassed. I was like, God, is this what people think of me? And like I said, he's not like cussing me out or anything like that.
Right.
It was he just kind of responded to something I said. And I'm already just like, I don't even want to talk anymore, but I've got to get past that. I'm like, I'm truly like, it got in my head. So, more power to you, buddy, for
having the huevos. We're going with the Spanish episode.
This episode. Okay. You've got to title
it. The huevos.
Whatever you're going to title the episode, you've just got to translate it to Spanish.
Not a sports guy. Spanish episode.
I think it's cojones.
Well, huevos, I think, are eggs, but like
I don't think that.
Yeah, it is. Gosh,
no, I think it is, but I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't know that that's the best translation
for that term.
Yeah,
I don't think that's what whenever I was in school, that's what kids would call them. So we'll go ahead and kind of push past that.
They would call what huevos?
They're morning eggs in the breakfast line.
Okay. I think cojones is the phrase you're looking for.
He had the cojones to comment and kind of tell Tim what he thought. So
I appreciate it.
If you're a fan of the podcast, I'm sorry, Tim, but listen, I've got to say something. If you're a fan of the podcast and you like Tim, how about you give him some support? Comment on our next post and just let him know, hey, Tim, we know you're the not a sports guy. We know you're making hot takes, but we love them, So don't be afraid to comment or just send a message. Jacob, if you don't want to comment.
Listen, I appreciate what you're doing, but
I'm standing up for you, Tim.
I know, and I appreciate it, but that makes me look weak. I don't need, I mean, I appreciate it, but you guys, if you love me, cool. I would love to hear that, but don't do it because you think that I'm golly.
It's not what I meant. It's not what I meant.
I know. And it was one comment. It was one comment, guys. I'm okay. I promise I'm okay. I feel like I've painted. It's not your fault. You're just looking out for me. I feel like I've painted this picture of, But anyway, it's a learning
might be more hurt than you are. You're not hurt at all. Nothing. It's deflected off of you.
Exactly. No, it really is a learning experience. I mean, one, I'm expressing my opinion in a very public forum. And I don't think. I mean, I'm not. I'm not getting cast out on social media necessarily,
Right.
to the masses necessarily at this point in time.
Right.
But anybody has free access to hear what I have to say.
Exactly.
Well, anybody who pays for Spotify or Apple Podcast is free
We're
if
on
you
Apple
paid for the
Podcasts.
iPhone. So
Exactly.
not entirely free, but it's relatively accessible.
Right.
And so, there's a learning curve there, right? Like what we say, it's out there,
Right. Anyone
it's
can
out
hear
there
it.
on the Twitterverse. So we've
Well,
got
we're
to be
not on
prepared.
Twitter, everyone, but
Okay.
if you want to
That's a
talk about
metaphorical
us on
statement.
Twitter, we'll take it.
Maybe we should be on Twitter.
Maybe we should.
Next
So
episode.
you want me to take so you want no one to send you love
Well,
and
that's not what I said. I would love some love. Would love to receive love.
Tim's a lover, not a fighter.
This is spiraling out of control.
This has gone way too far. It wasn't a big deal, and I made it a big deal.
I made it a big deal. It's not your fault. I appreciate you standing up for me.
Of
Let's
course.
move on.
Okay. Well, make sure before you continue, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Not a Sports Guy. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube, Not a Sports Guy. So today on the show, we have the mid.
It's the Spanish coming in right there.
He's the mid. We've got the mid-season update. We've got the weekly wager, and as always, the NBA recap. So, Tim, with the mid-season update, I want to kind of take some time here, and I want to ask you a few questions because here we are. We're almost at the halfway point of the NBA season. We're about to hit the All-Star game this month. And since we're halfway mark in the NBA season, why not have our own halfway mark?
Whoa, we're halfway there. Living on a Prayer. That's the name of the song.
Did you say Q halfway there?
Just edit that out and literally just put in Living on a Prayer. Just the chorus right there. I know that it might prevent us from making money on YouTube, but it's worth it.
No, because I'm not going to do that because people need to hear the angelic voice you have, Tim. That was pretty good. Can we hear it one more time?
Yeah. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. I'm gonna wake up my kid.
That's okay. That's all right.
There's worse ways to wake up, right?
Right. Exactly. So why not wake up listening to, as Tim likes to call it, halfway there.
John Bon Jovi, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't even know.
Exactly. No, yeah, it was. It is John Bon Jovi.
Not a music guy.
No, Tim. We're gonna do all the not a guys ideas. We're gonna do the not a music guy. We're gonna do the not a movie guy. It may not be right now. May not be anytime soon.
I know we need to move on, and I'm just really dragging us down right now. I'm an anchor. That's what I am. But
shout out to Anchor. Tim, take a second and tell them about Anchor.
Well, the ad is coming. Don't worry. But no, at the top of the show, you asked if I'm not a sports guy, what am I? And I've already told you multiple things of what I'm not. Is that an appropriate way to define who I am by telling you what all I'm not? Because I feel like I'm getting there, and there's probably more coming.
Maybe so. Maybe that's a way of expressing who you are. But at the same time, I could sit here and say a bunch of things that I'm not, but does that define me? Does that define who I am? The things that I'm not?
Well,
find out next week.
The what's it called? The process of elimination, right?
Okay, so you're not a music guy. You're not a movie guy. You're not a sports guy. Are you a food guy?
I'd probably say I'm somewhat.
Are you a coffee guy?
You know that I'm a coffee guy. Exactly. You are not a coffee guy, which
I'm not.
There is a podcast coming for that. I'm going to teach you all there is to know about coffee.
Exactly. And then
all that I know about coffee, at least.
Exactly. But you're an expert. I'd consider you an expert.
Definitely not an expert.
You've worked in the field. You've worked in the field, Tim.
I did. But I'm removed a bit.
Oh gosh, Tim. When are we going to start all these other podcasts? We've got so many ideas flowing, and people want to hear them. People want to hear them.
So many people. We have emails coming in constantly. All the time. Hey, let's talk about something else you guys don't know anything about. Can we, please?
Exactly. They love your hot take so much they can't wait to hear your other hot takes that you have. So, alrighty, Tim. Let's jump into the mid-season update. I've got a few questions here for you.
I've got a few answers here for you.
I hope so. Because if you
are
didn't,
they the right ones, I don't know.
There's no right answers here.
There's no right answers. Okay.
There's no right answer. You could make
Yikes.
up every single answer. I wouldn't know. You could be lying. You could be giving me false statements, and they would be right in my ears. So
Wait, you hold on. Whoa. You just told me there are no right answers, and then you just told me I could make up something and it's right. So which is it?
I'm just saying. I'm going to give you the question.
Is
You
it no
answer to
right
the
answers
best
or
of your
no
ability.
wrong answers? Okay.
There
Just
are
saying.
no wrong answers.
Okay, well, you said the opposite like about 27 seconds ago. So,
well, something that people are going to find out with me throughout this journey is that I get phrases, words, everything like that mixed up constantly.
Wait, are you not perfect? This is the
First question,
okay.
Tim. How has it been so far this season? Just at this mid-season update, how has it been for you trying to become a basketball guy?
Thank you for asking that question. That means
Of
a lot.
course.
I feel good about it. Well, we at the beginning of the season picked a team at random for us to follow. That team to be the lens through which I'm watching the NBA. Of course, we've talked about it quite often, but we are tracking with the Nets. I'm really thankful for that method. I think had we just decided let's kind of dive in and sporadically watch games, that would have been really overwhelming. But this has been a really fun and unique way to, first of all, kind of build some sort of team spirit. And obviously, I have my issues with the Nets, but I do have like an affinity for them. And I think I always will, honestly, as the time has gone by. Like the Nets kind of have this special place in my heart. I mean, they were my first team that I really like followed the NBA with. I don't know that they'll always be like the team I'm rooting for, but they're always going to have that special place. But I really do feel like we're 12 weeks in, 3 months in,
Right.
not even halfway through with the season. And I feel like I've been able to have multiple conversations with people outside of this podcast.
Wow. That's great.
About basketball, and most of those have been instigated by me with the kind of hope to, garner more information from whoever I'm discussing these things with.
Right.
But I feel like somewhat competent. I know who the big players are.
Mhm.
I am relatively aware of where everyone falls in the power rankings and, where we're headed in the season. So I really feel like I've grown a lot when it comes to the NBA. And I mean, if I were to stop watching this season, I think next season I would at this point still be pretty familiar with the general, NBA.
Right.
So
Right.
I feel
Wow.
good.
You've come a long way, Tim. Who would
Maybe.
have thought? Yeah, maybe, but you
I
really
feel like
have. There's no maybe to it. I think you really have come a long way from episode 1 all the way to episode 12. Like I said, we're halfway mark here. You, like at the first episode, I asked you, who are these 5 players? You could really only name 2 of them who they played for. If we went back to that now, I'm confident you could answer all of them, maybe except one. And I'll go ahead and test that one out right now.
Damian
Okay?
Lillard?
No, he wasn't one of them. It was Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard. I get those mixed up. Kawhi Leonard hasn't been playing this season, but
Correct.
No, I was about to say the Pelicans, but that's Zion.
There, see, look at you. Look, I know like you haven't even answered the question, but the fact that you even know who Zion is and he hasn't played this season, and like everyone else in the NBA, world knows who Zion is, but for someone who's coming in brand new this year and Zion hasn't been playing, the fact that you knew Zion played for the Pelicans, that's tippable. So back to it. Kawhi Leonard.
Gonna tip me.
Nothing.
Kawhi Leonard. So there's 3, because Damian Lillard also hasn't been playing this season.
He has.
And I want to say he has. Wow.
He has, but he's been injured, so he hasn't been playing for a little while now.
I don't think I've watched, at least I definitely haven't caught a game with him playing, but I feel like he hasn't been playing at all since I've been tracking. Maybe I'm wrong, but he plays for the Trailblazers, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm not just trying to showboat here. I'm just trying to eliminate, process of elimination. Because those were the 3 players that I remember from the beginning of the season who were all like kind of bigger names who were kind of out. I think you actually got it right though. I don't know who Kawhi Leonard plays for.
Okay, he plays for the Clippers. Okay,
Mm.
he is a Clippers player.
Well, we have not talked about the Clippers almost at all, so
We've
that
talked
makes
about them
sense.
a little bit because they did play the Nets a few times, and they actually had beaten the Nets this season one time.
Oof.
So we talked about them
Try
a
to
little
burn
bit.
that out of my memory, I guess.
Exactly. But yeah, so Kawhi Leonard, that's the one player still, but I really, like I said, I wouldn't really expect you to know that one. But everybody else you can name. So I'm proud of how far you've come in this 12-week span that we've been doing the podcast. I can only imagine come June where you will be when it comes to being an NBA fan. Because I think once we get into the playoffs, that will get really exciting, really fun to like track those games and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of back to what you were saying regarding the Nets always having like that spot as your first team. Even if you're not necessarily rooting for them all the time, they will kind of always have that spot for you. I think it's weird because obviously the Hawks are that for me, and I still root for the Hawks actively. But I feel like the Nets now have kind of become my second team, even though
Okay.
I'm really a huge Nets fan. Like I
Yeah.
will always kind of remember the Nets as like, okay, our first season of Not a Sports Guy, we followed the Nets. So like I'll always kind of be looking at how they're doing as well.
That's cool.
So
I'm glad I'm not alone in that. Yeah, I think and honestly, I would encourage you guys to maybe try this, whether or not you've been watching the NBA, just to kind of get a new experience. Maybe you do have a team, your home team, or whatever it might be. But maybe next season, spin a wheel, get a random team, and try to keep up with them. In addition to your team, but just to kind of give yourself some exposure to some of the other players and you don't have a Hawks game every night,
right,
but
right,
when the Hawks and the Nets are both your team, the chances are a lot higher that you've got somebody to look at almost every night. I
exactly,
think, and because I was kind of the opposite for a little while. I've as much as you were a Hawks fan and Nets came second, I was a Nets fan and the Hawks kind of came second, just because I
right,
knew that we could have these conversations. But I've enjoyed that. I really want to encourage our listeners to go do something similar next season, and it doesn't have to be with basketball. I mean, whatever sport you're tracking with, I think it's a fun way
exactly,
to do things. And I'm excited. I really, I mean, only time will tell. But as I think forward, think to the future, I really can't imagine not thinking about the Nets in a very different and
right.
special way.
I'm excited because we will eventually circle back around to the Nets, and like we'll be covering other sports in future seasons that will probably overlap with the NBA season. So, we'll be able to kind of chit chat about the Nets here and there as seasons come. But I'm also excited to get in these other sports like football and kind of spin a wheel for football and see what kind of team we land on there. I think that's just like such a fun way to kind of force yourself to really pay attention to the league in a broader, aspect rather than just being
Right.
honed in on your one team.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking about other teams and stuff like that, Tim, let us know who some of your favorite players and teams are so far. Because, we've talked
Okay.
about the Nets, we've talked
Mm-hmm.
about them, but give us some different teams that you've kind of
Sure.
found out that you've liked and maybe even some players.
Okay. Well, this may, if you've been tracking at all with us this season, this will probably not come as a surprise. But I'm a big fan of the Grizzlies, of Ja Morant specifically. I very much enjoy watching him play. I love being able to keep up with them as well and just watch how they've really risen through the power rankings. Um, the Suns have been a somewhat of a favorite of mine. I don't watch them as often, but I really like Chris Paul. I like Devin Booker.
Mm,
So there's somebody that I'm kind of always trying to be somewhat aware of where they're at.
right.
Of course, I mentioned the Hawks and Trey Young. Um, the Cavs, occasionally I'm watching out for.
Okay. Okay.
There's a good many players on there. I like Garland is fun to watch. I like
Right.
I can never remember his name.
Jared
Not
Allen.
not even. Yes. Oh man, you knew who I was talking about.
Yep.
I thought you were gonna think that I was talking about our boy Evan Mobley.
There you go.
Let's go. But no, yes, Garrett Allen or is it Jared or
Jared.
Garrett?
Jared.
Jared. Okay, I knew it's Allen. I love just the faces that he makes with that big old afro flopping
Right.
around. Yeah, he's fun. So
I don't know if you remember, but he used to play for the Nets. So we could have potentially had him on the team.
man,
But
I
yeah,
would have
missed out on
loved that.
him. Yeah, that would have been fun. So yeah, I love like this is like also pretty fun for me to kind of see what teams and players that you're kind of flocking towards, due to the excitement or just the play style. Because I know like Ja Morant, he's an exciting player to watch, but also his play style. It's that's something that you like about the Grizzlies as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And then same thing with the Suns. Like you've really enjoyed who they are as people, like Chris Paul. Like you've talked about how much you just respect like his outlook on things during interviews. And obviously they are one of the hottest teams this season. I mean, I think they're number one in the power rankings right now. They're still one of the highest, I guess, most winningest teams this season so far. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also a really exciting team to watch. So another question. Earlier this season, whenever we asked you, or whenever I asked you about how it feels so far to kind of be following the NBA, you had mentioned you felt overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still feel overwhelmed at this point?
That's another good question. I don't think so, and I think I've learned to not let myself be overwhelmed.
Okay.
At the very beginning of this process, I dove in head first. I was watching the highlight reels of every game pretty much every day,
Mm-hmm.
which is that alone is a lot, much less trying to catch every game,
Right.
But and I was not letting myself miss a Nets game. So I mean, I was consuming a lot of basketball. I've slowed down a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and paced myself in a way that like I feel comfortable with. I still feel like I know what's going on. I don't watch every Nets game. I will watch the highlights of pretty much every Nets game, so I know what's
Wow.
going on with them. Um, and I read a lot of articles, every couple of days just to kind of see what the big news is. And I'm always kind of taking a look at the power rankings and kind of seeing the shifts there.
Right.
But I've given myself the opportunity to not have to see everything. And that's
Right.
really helped. And that's something that, again, I would encourage those newer NBA viewers, newer fans to just not, don't, it can be overwhelming. Don't let it be,
Right.
especially because, the NBA in particular has so many games in its season. If you miss a couple, that's okay. Like you're not, it's, whereas
Right.
maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the NFL, how many games in a season at the NFL?
17.
So that you miss one game, that's a big chunk of, that
Yeah.
could really, your team loses a game that they shouldn't have lost and you miss that. Like that could have been the deciding factor, that one game on
Right.
whether or not they make it to the playoffs,
Right.
so I can see that being a little bit more intentional, right? But with
Right.
the NBA, like you have the freedom to kind of move around. So,
Exactly. And I definitely agree. It can be super overwhelming. We've talked about so much, just all of the different social media pages that are just constantly posting how like some nights there are 12 games going on. It's just so much content coming at you every single day. It can be extremely overwhelming. And, I don't blame you for taking it on how you did, because you want to dive into it. You want to like immediately just start taking in all this information. And it is overwhelming. So, again, I also can't blame you for slowing yourself down. Like, I think it's the smart thing to do. I think it's probably what most just regular NBA fans do. They keep up
mhm.
with their team. They may not watch every game, but they're definitely keeping up on the app, watching looking at the box scores, looking at if they won, who they got next, stuff like that. And then at the same time, also taking a look at highlights. That's just another big thing. And like you were saying, keeping up with the power rankings, all that good stuff. Like it's just something that the normal fan that has a 9 to 5 job that also has to come home to a family, like you don't have all the time in the world to be able to sit down and watch a 3-hour game every single night, So I think the way you're handling it has been perfect, and really it's up to you as well. It's up to your pace and how how you like to handle it. So I'm glad that it's gone that way so far. I know I've got a few questions here, but we've mainly talked about everything that I've wanted to cover so far. So that was our midseason update, everybody. I think, Tim, you've gave great answers to all of those questions. I think you've really, transformed from, where you were in episode 1 all the way to episode 12. So hopefully by the end of, you've definitely not transcended. That's a little inside joke that I'm not even going to get into on this podcast. Tim thinks he's a transcended being, y'all. I got into it. I'm sorry. I got into it.
Not true.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to go. Do you want to talk about that for a second, Tim?
No, I don't. Golly, just throw me under the bus like that.
It's a conspiracy theory, y'all.
I think
welcome back. It is time for the weekly wager, everyone. It's the weekly wager. Yo.
Sorry, were you not ready for that?
I wasn't ready for it, but gosh, it just sounds so good to hear that drop again, man.
It's been too long.
As we know, I just got back from vacation, got back from my cruise to Mexico.
Yeah, what the heck? How do we forget to talk about that at the top of the episode? Golly.
We just had a lot to talk about. My cruise was amazing. We went to Cozumel and Yucatan. It was so much fun. So much fun.
That's why you're speaking Spanish. I get it now. Oh my gosh.
It all comes full circle. Okay. Yeah, me and Clarissa had a blast. She took me on my first cruise. She's been on plenty of cruises, but she took me on my first cruise. She taught me the ways. She taught me just how to eat. For some reason, when you get on the cruise, you can just eat more. She taught me how to eat more. She was like, listen, you can eat breakfast, double breakfast, lunch, double lunch, dinners, anything you want.
And you weren't
constantly
stuffed?
Eating. No, it's weird.
Wow.
I've
never been on a cruise myself, but I've heard from multiple people, including yourself, that there's always something to do. So I'm sure you were moving around a lot and, just kind of burning those calories. So
probably so. Fair. That makes sense. But yeah, we had a blast.
Plus when you're not even walking, you're just kind of sweat, I don't know if that burns calories, but
man, that's why the sleep was so good. You kind of feel like you're being rocked to sleep a little bit. And the swaying isn't that, it's not like that noticeable. Okay. Like it's a very slow, you notice it very slowly. So
right before you guys left, I left a little nugget for you that I've heard a lot of horror stories about people going missing on cruises. I'm just curious, did that ever did you dwell on that at all? Did that put you at I didn't mean to scare you. I felt like I shouldn't have said that. It was just something that I was aware of.
Well, you didn't scare me. Let's get
okay. That's good. Let's get that. I just want to make sure that I didn't ruin your first day where you're just like, oh gosh, I hope we don't get kidnapped.
Oh no, I don't. I was never actually worried about it. Like I said, Clarissa's been on 4 cruises prior to this one. So not saying that she's been on 4, y'all, we can't get kidnapped. She's done 4, so we've got to get back to the boat. No, she kind of understands what happens at the port. She understands how the excursions work and stuff like that.
Well, I was, no offense to you, but I was actually more concerned for her. I didn't think anybody was going to kidnap you.
I'm sure she'll appreciate that.
But I didn't know at the time that she had been on multiple cruises and was kind of aware of all this stuff. So that's good.
It works out. So yeah, we had fun on the beaches of Cozumel. We went and visited one of the new wonders of the world, Chichen Itza, the Mayan pyramid in Yucatan. And it was just so much fun. And
that's good.
I'm going to keep ignoring the Yucatan that you're saying in the background.
I was okay with that.
But while I was out in the beaches of Cozumel, Mexico with Clarissa, what were you doing, Tim? You were doing something
I was having a
exciting
pretty good
too.
week as well. Yeah.
Really?
I had COVID.
Had COVID.
Yup. Hey,
Jeez.
I'm proud to say I made it to 2022 without catching COVID. So, it's about time.
That's
Sure.
a pretty good record there.
I feel like most people at this point have had it, but it was a first for me and my family. I gave it to everybody. So
But
that was
everyone's
fun.
okay. Everyone's
We
okay.
are all good. Yep.
Thank God. Thank God. That
Mhm.
is, again, it's scary. It's scary when you get COVID, even if you aren't somebody that has, even if you're not like high risk, it's just scary. So everyone
Yeah.
out there, please be
Well, and
careful.
I wasn't even that worried about myself, but I've got a 1.5-year-old, and
Right.
I passed it on to him. He was the first. Well, he was the second person to get it. First
Mhm.
person I passed it to. I was worried about him. He actually handled it like a champ.
Oh yeah. He's
I was
also a
out.
Nets fan. So
Of course. Oh yeah. Crosby, the Nets fan, big time. I may move on from the Nets, but Crosby will always be a Nets fan. But
exactly.
no, I was out for 2 days, and then he was out for just 1 day, really.
Mhm.
And really, he didn't let it slow him down too much. My wife, unfortunately, got it the worst. She was out for about 4 days, but she is good now. So
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to
So
hear that.
we were having some fun at the house,
There you go.
almost as much as you. Anyways, I just realized that I definitely played the wager drop way too early. But my
Why
apologies.
would you say that? I
Well,
I enjoyed it. You cut me off. You did, but it was fun. It was a fun
I'm going to
little.
play it again whenever we're ready. But yeah, I would just say that because we've been talking about cruises and COVID for the past 5
Right.
minutes. So
Well,
haven't
that's
talked
what the
about the wager.
wager's on this week.
Oh,
Who's going
who's going to
home?
get who's going to
Who?
get win a cruise and who's going to get COVID?
Which NBA player is getting sent home because of COVID, and then which player is going to go on a vacation? Yeah. So last week's wager was pretty crazy.
Are you ready for the drop now?
I was just going to preface this with saying it was
Okay.
pretty crazy, y'all. But now it's time for the weekly wager.
This time for real.
It's the weekly wager. Yo.
I don't really want
Welcome.
to talk about this. I'm not going to lie.
Why?
We can just
Why
move
not?
on. Well, you know why. Up to this point, I have had a perfect record with the
Literally
weekly wagers.
perfect.
Won 7 wagers in a row.
No losses. Didn't miss
And
anything.
then we had this little infestation 2 weeks ago. This little rat weaseled his way into the show.
Yep.
He opened up a casino. He freely gave us some money.
1,000 rat bucks,
and then he
whatever.
said, "I'm going to be your bookie. I'm going to teach you how to really gamble." He said he's going to teach us how to really gamble.
It worked for me.
It worked for you, but it did not. I had a terrible week. We bet on 4 different games.
Exactly.
And we had a bonus bet where we bet on the over-under Joel Embiid.
Process.
Was it 7 games? Is that correct?
It was 7 games. He only played in 6 of them. But as we talked about last week, if he did miss out on one of those games, we would subtract that points per game average and then consider it at 6 games.
Okay.
But I just did remember as well that it's not rat bucks. It's actually a cryptocurrency. We talked about that. It is rat bucks, but it is a cryptocurrency. So we're given $1,000 of cryptocurrency. And Tim
And then at the end of this episode, maybe you can tell them where to purchase that cryptocurrency.
No, it's just for me and you.
Okay.
Me and you.
Wow, that's valuable then. Really valuable.
Exactly.
Well, your amount is far more valuable than mine. I like this new system because I came out doing a lot better than I felt like I did.
Okay.
The first game we bet on was that was a nod to you. I thought you were going to pick that up. I'm so sorry.
I didn't see that. The first game that we bet on was the Bulls at the Bucks. And we both bet that the Bucks were going to win, but we bet 2 different wagers there. You bet 100 of your rat cryptocurrency. I bet 50. And the Bucks won. So we both won on that one. I won 50, you won 100. The next game was the Jazz at the Warriors. Tim bet the Warriors. I bet the Warriors. We both bet 100 rap bucks on it. We won that one, so we both gained an extra 100. Then it gets a little dicey here. The next game was Lakers at Nets. And Tim, you bet Nets. You thought that the Nets were going to bring it home.
Well, and just to remind you guys why I thought this was a good idea, because I knew KD was out, right? He had already hurt his knee or whatever.
I think it was his knee. Yeah.
His knee. And at that time, Kyrie was not playing. This was over Christmas, right? It was just James Harden and the gang, which I obviously Harden is our superstar, but we've got some good players,
Right.
So it wasn't just him. But we took the Lakers on in LA and we beat them. Now, that time, Anthony Davis was out, which I think maybe played somewhat of a role.
Definitely did.
I felt confident, so we're going into this game at home in New York, and KD is out, and
Kyrie's also out.
Kyrie's also out because it's a home game. So I was like, well, this is the same matchup, except for that we're at home. So we have home court advantage. I did not consider the fact that Anthony Davis would be returning. So that, once again, that may have been the determining factor. But things did not go the way I had hoped them to. And I was very confident in my bet.
Extremely confident.
Way too confident.
You bet 250. That was your highest bet up to that point. Really, that was your highest bet the whole time, was that the Nets were going to win, beat the Lakers. I bet Lakers. I said, you know what? No, Lakers are going to take it. I'm betting 200. Lakers won. So, Tim, you actually got to use one of your free bets. So, again, everybody, if you haven't followed up to this point, we have played 7 weeks of wagers since we've done, I think, 5 wagers or 6 wagers, but we had an opportunity to win bonus points. So Tim has 7 free bets. I have 2 free bets. And if you're not sure what a free bet is, basically, if you lose the bet, then you get to use one of your free bets, which basically cancels it out. But he can only use one a week at his lowest amount.
If I bet, say 250 and I win 500, right? Like I'd keep my 250 and win an additional 250. But if I lost, such as in this case, I get to keep my 250.
Exactly. So he lost this bet, but uses a free bet, so he keeps his 250. And then the last bet was the Celtics at the Hawks. Tim was super confident in this one as well. He thought Celtics were going to beat the Hawks, no problem. Threw up another 250.
Wipe the floor with them. That was not the case either. You, however, you had what did you guys call it? A heart bet?
A heart bet, or yeah, I think so. A heart bet.
Well, and let's be clear here. As confident as I was, I think you were very similarly confident that the Hawks would lose because you were not willing to put a lot of money on the Hawks. But
very true.
Because of your support for them, you did bet on the Hawks, but very little money. You bet $50. Well, we were both. Well, you were more right than I was. I mean, you bet right because I watched a good bit of that game.
Really?
Actually,
how'd that go?
The Hawks were up the entire game. I don't think that the Celtics ever were up. Maybe there was 1 point.
Okay.
In the game where they were up 2 points or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. It was really embarrassing.
But
I'm not even gonna lie. You want to hear something funny?
Let's hear it.
I forgot who I bet. Like I was like excited about halfway through the game. I was like, all right, we're doing good. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, I was like, and it wasn't even that I was confused that I bet on the Celtics. I was just like looking at the Hawks score.
Right.
And watching the Hawks play and just kind of almost like in my mind, I was like, this is the Celtics. Does that make sense? It was the weirdest feeling.
Rooting for the Hawks. Like I think it happens to me sometimes too. If you're just watching a game, let's say I'm going for the Nets in a game, but like they're playing, let's say the Warriors, and I'm like, man, the Warriors are doing good. I like this. Man, the Warriors are scoring, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, I'm going for the Nets. What's going on? So
that's I had to like refocus at halftime and realize that I was just losing some money. I had forgotten about my free bet, though. I'm not going to lie. And I thought that I had lost a lot of money, but that free bet saved me.
I'm not going to lie. I forgot about it as well. So I was probably a little bit Well, you were probably more excited than I was because obviously I was a little let down. I thought you were going to be losing tons of money. But, I'm happy, Tim, because you are, again, the not a sports guy. So, with that being said, you get the free bet. Not because you are the not a sports guy, but because you've earned them.
I have.
And then our bonus bet was going to be Joel Embiid's over under 199.5. So it was across 7 games. The next 7 games, was he going to score over or under 199.5 points? Tim bet under for 100, and I bet over for 250. And if we won this one, your bet gets doubled. And so the process only played 6 out of the 7. But one thing that we talked about last podcast was that if he does miss a game, we just subtract his average points per game from one of those games, or from the total 199, and it was still the over. So I ended up taking home that bet as well. So 500. That was my biggest win of the week, was bringing home that one. So that was 500. So not that great of a week for you, Tim, but it's a new week. We've got new wagers. Unfortunately, the Rat could not join us tonight, but he will be joining us soon. This is turned into basically the Rat Casino segment, the weekly wager. So he's sent in some new bets for this week, somewhat similar to last week. So let's go ahead and jump into it, Tim. We have 2 games. So the first game, Hawks at Mavericks. Who you got on this game, and how much are you betting?
Well, I tell you what, I'm definitely not going to be betting as wild this stretch.
Okay.
I'm going to be playing it a little bit smarter. All right. What are you thinking? I'm just curious.
Here, I'll go ahead. I'll make the first bet here. I'm going Mavericks.
Oh, you're going against the Hawks this week. Okay.
And I'm putting 200 down.
Okay.
Now, there's really no clear logic behind this pick, other than I watched the Hawks-Lakers game this past week, and they extended their winning streak to 7. Okay,
the Hawks
did.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I'm not too certain if they've played. Or wait, they played Toronto maybe yesterday or the day before they lost, so their streak's broken. They lost to Toronto. I feel like for some reason I watched the Lakers-Hawks game, and don't get me wrong, they were playing well, they were playing tight, but they were down by 11 3 times during that game. So it was almost like it was the Hawks game to lose, or it was the Lakers game to lose,
Okay,
But
right.
the Hawks came back and won, and I was happy, of course. But the Mavericks have been pretty good this season, so I'm going Mavericks.
Okay.
And I don't think Trae Young played last game either. So I don't know if that's something that's like kind of a lingering injury, or if this is just kind of like take a break.
You should not have told me that, because I was actually going to go Hawks.
Wow. Well, if you want me to, I'll look it up for you right now to kind of help you out.
Well,
not because I'm going to help you, but you kind of helped me last week with a few of the things that you had mentioned. So if you want me to, I can look up the Hawks.
Talk to me.
I can look up the Hawks
because number one, I think it's more enjoyable when we have got opposing wagers.
Yep.
Those first couple of games last week, they were both. I think we both felt confident in them, and it wasn't all that exciting to win that money because number one, there was no shock, no shock value, and 2, we both won, and I want to beat you, and I don't think that I'm going to stand much of a chance if I'm betting the same way as you. So I'm either going to win big or lose big.
Right.
So I'm leaning towards betting on your Hawks.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Bet against you.
I looked at the players' news here. Trae Young will be a game time decision on Thursday against Phoenix. Okay. The game that we're betting on is a Friday game. But the fact that he's a game time decision makes me feel like it's not that serious of an injury, obviously.
Okay.
If it was serious,
all right,
they would have already come out and been like, he's out 4 weeks or so.
Okay. That said, I'm going Hawks, and I'm going 200.
Okay. So there we go. I love it. So we've got differing bets here. I'm betting Mavericks 200. You're betting Hawks 200. Let's go into the next game. We have the Suns at the 76ers. With that being said, Tim, who do you got for this game?
The Suns at the 76ers. I'm going to play a little heart bet here. And I feel confident in this. I'm going to go Suns.
Okay.
I'm not saying the 76ers aren't a good team, but I mean, obviously the Suns, as you said earlier in the show, they are the winningest team thus far.
Right.
And also I've just not by any like true logic, but I just find myself betting against Joel Embiid. So let's just double up on that,
He's an easy villain,
Is he?
Yeah.
He nicknamed himself, right? We talked about that, and I'm not a fan of that. So
but I didn't know this. Don't like him because of that.
If he had just, let the nickname come to him, I'd be on board.
Yeah.
No, why is he an easy villain?
He's a big trash talker. The way he plays, I don't know.
He waved my nets off, the court.
See,
he
something
said,
like that. Imagine, you don't like that, do you?
Yeah. Sorry, Joel.
Nope. I'm going to be right there with you. I know we like to do the differing things, but
No, that's fair.
I like the Suns on this matchup.
Wait, hold on. I didn't give an amount.
Did you not? Wow.
I don't think so.
So what's the amount?
I'm going to go 200 again. 200.
All right.
That way I'm not going to feel like an idiot if I lose one because I've got the free bet, so either way.
Right. I'm also going Suns. But I'm not going to go by much. I'll probably go Suns 50.
Okay.
I know that's kind of a weird bet, but Suns Sixers, I feel like there definitely is a chance the Sixers win this one. I know Joel Embiid has been on fire. Literally, he's jumped into the MVP ladder. So I think he's really obviously, he's having a great season. So he could definitely compete against the Suns here. But I think the Suns will squeak by, get the win. But being that there's a big chance, there you go, squeak by, thanks to the rat. If they do squeak by though, or if they don't win, I'm not going to be losing much. I'll take, if they do win, I'll take my 50 and be happy with it. So let's go ahead and jump into.
A little early there, my bad. What was that? Were you saying something?
Nope, nothing important. This has been the episode of cutting me off.
I'm so sorry.
It's the NBA recap, y'all. Or it's the NBA update.
What are we calling it now? I'm confused. I feel like we changed the name.
It was This Week in Basketball. Now when I'm looking at the doc, it says NBA update. I don't know why I've been saying NBA recap. Anyways.
That's okay because the drop is titled recap. So when you say that, I know.
Oh, so gosh, we have it listed under different things here. That's just great.
It's the NBA update.
Welcome to the NBA update. This week, it's been a long week, y'all. I've been getting back into the groove of things after vacation. Obviously, Tim had COVID, so we don't have too much to talk about on this week's NBA update, but we have a few things we'd like to mention. And Tim, do you have anything off the top of your head that you want to mention? Because I've got something. I've got one thing that I do want to talk about.
Ooh.
I think this is pretty big news.
Let's hear it.
Cade Cunningham now in the number 1 spot for the rookie ladder. Yes. He has jumped Evan Mobley. He has jumped Scotty Barnes. So what are you thinking here? Cade Cunningham, I mean, I said it a few episodes ago. He's been playing solid, and I think it was just a matter of time before he really started to get recognized for his ability. So now he is the number 1 spot on the NBA rookie ladder. Number 2 is Evan Mobley. Number 3 is Scotty Barnes. Number 4 is the Thunder from Down Under, Josh Giddey. Number 5 is Franz Wagner. So What do you make of this rookie ladder?
Like you said, I don't think it's any surprise. He was the number 1 draft pick this year. I think it was only a matter of time. I unfortunately haven't really had too much opportunity to keep up with him, watch him play, but heard great things. It's no surprise to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. He's been such a fun player to watch. I haven't really watched him that much, but like whenever I'm seeing him on highlights, anything like that, like he's a good player, man. And I'm excited to see what he can do with this Pistons team. Hopefully they are rebuilding properly and he can really turn this franchise around, for years to come. So again, Evan Mobley down at 2, Scotty Barnes at 3. So those are our 2 guys that we mainly talk about when it came to the rookie ladder. But yeah, so I'm not sure if you saw this or not, Tim. Again, talking about Cunningham. Cade Cunningham and Josh Giddey are named the rookies of the month. So
I saw that.
those 2 rookies made the top 5 rookie ladder, but they're also going to be named the rookies of the month. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Desmond Bain. Did you see what he said? What he came out and said?
Recently?
Yeah, he came out and said that he took it personal that he was drafted 30th.
I can appreciate that. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, the Grizzlies have been an impressive team. I've been very much enjoying watching them play, and I shouted out Ja Morant, but I don't credit him exclusively. He's got a great supporting team, and
right.
Desmond. I kept wanting to say Dane Desmond. Bain Desmond is obviously a solid number 2 for Ja. So
yeah, I'm excited to see what this Grizzlies
to prove himself, and I like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see what this Grizzlies team can do. He was just going on to talk about how he didn't know how good that they were going to be this year. He said that he knew that they had a young team, they had promising talent, but he thought this was going to be probably just another year of growing with the same team. But no, they have come out and really made a splash in this league. So it'll be exciting to kind of see what the Grizzlies end up doing towards the end of the season. Are they going to make a playoff run? How far will they get? Type thing. And then let's talk about this. Maybe one of the last things we talk about. LeBron James. He misses his 4th straight game on Wednesday, and he could be set to miss more games in the future. Apparently, he has a left knee injury. So it's almost like first we have Anthony Davis out. Now we have LeBron out. It's like, is this team ever going to be healthy all together and try to find like this chemistry and how they're going to play together? Because right now it just seems like they're taking turns being injured. Obviously this isn't what they want, but it's like if they want to make a push for the not off season, that's where they're making their push right now. But if they want to make a push for the postseason in the playoffs, we've got to get healthy. We knew this was going to be a problem though because of how old they were. So
that was exactly what I was going to say. I mean, I don't know that it's a shock. They're the oldest team, correct?
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any faith in the Lakers. I don't know. I mean, I would be very surprised if they did make it to the playoffs at this rate.
Yeah, I would be too. I mean, I want to see them get there because I really am a big LeBron fan. Like, I don't know. Similar to another great that retired just a few days ago, Tom Brady retired from the NFL this week. So 22 seasons and he is gone. I know this isn't a football podcast just yet, maybe next season. But similar to Tom Brady in the end of his career, I was rooting for him. I was rooting for Tom Brady to win these Super Bowls. I was like, get as many as you can because we're watching greatness right now. And I kind of feel the same way when I'm watching LeBron James. I'm like, man, I don't know how many years he has left. He's still playing at such a high level. It's not like his numbers are showing him decline at all. So,
as a side note, do you think that would be different were he playing with a younger team? Do you because I wonder a lot of times. Clearly, I mean, no hate on LeBron. Like he's capable of doing these things, and but he is supporting the Lakers. I mean, almost exclusively.
Especially with AD out.
Yes. But it's almost like it's because he has to. But if he were with a younger team who could carry some of that load, would he be performing to that level? You know what I mean?
It's a great question. It's a great question because I think you're right. I mean, they have the oldest team in the NBA. He's going to have to step up and carry some of them on his back. But you're right. If he was surrounded, let's say by a Grizzlies team that has Ja, that has Bane, is he taking on as much of this lead role? I mean, I feel like he would, obviously, because he's LeBron. But would he have to carry them as much? Would he be putting up these high numbers? Because if you maybe had a Ja next to him or, Ja and Bane next to him, maybe the points and the stats would be a little bit more even kill across, the entire way. But right now, I mean, AD's coming back, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how they play together now with AD back in the mix. Hopefully LeBron can get healthy, get back out there because they like I've been saying, they've got to find this chemistry. They've got to find how they're going to play together if they do want to make a postseason run. So that's going to do it for NBA recap. Again, everybody, was a little bit shorter this week, but it's 1 week back off of a break. So bear with us. We will have a much more in-depth NBA recap next week. But let's go ahead and thank someone. Tim, we didn't really talk about this at the beginning of the podcast. We told everybody we kind of get into it here. We've got a listener of the week. Go ahead, get the horns ready. I know this may hurt for you to give this guy the horns.
It's painful. I don't even want to do it. I don't, but I will.
Our listener of the week is Stone.Jackson_. Now, Stone.Jackson_, he commented on one of our most recent Instagram posts. I put a clip together of Tim giving his hot take about KD. He said that KD isn't that essential to the Nets. And Stone Jackson came back and said, "You can't be serious." Again, this is a random person. He doesn't even follow us. He just chimed in.
He probably did. I bet he did. And then I said what I said, and he's like, "Nah, these guys are trash." Golly,
Well, to be fair, he probably thought you were, because in the clip you can hear me and the rat saying, "This is a huge take. This is a hot take."
That's true. But I was so wrong in his eyes that he was just like, "No, I can't give this guy any credibility," which is fair. But again, I don't ask for credibility. I'm new to this, so
exactly.
I stand by my statement.
There you go.
Look, we're not going to get into it. I don't want to say any more hot takes and get
there
myself
you
in
go.
trouble.
Well, hey, watch. Maybe at the end of the season, there will be an actual analyst that will come out and say, James Harden and Kyrie, when they play together, they were amazing. But when KD was out there with them, it just all got messed up. I don't think KD's essential. And you know what? Maybe people will be like, you know what? I think he's right. And then we'll kind of look back.
That one guy from that one podcast. That's our big break right there.
Exactly.
I'm just, here's what's really eating me up inside. We don't know this Stone.Jackson_, but what I do know is that KD himself has gotten in trouble in the past for making burner Instagram accounts and attacking people
what
verbally.
What if this is KD?
What if it is? And I've insulted the man. I mean, that's what I'm mainly concerned with. I mean, if Stone.Jackson_ is just some guy,
who cares?
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
If it's KD, what do you have to say?
Man, I mean, I stand by my statement. I'm curious. I'd like to play that clip back. I don't feel like I said he's not essential for the team. KD is not that essential for the Nets. My opinion on KD is that I don't even know how to put it into words, really. And this is probably the issue, is like, I feel like I'm not conveying my thoughts properly. KD is a great player. I feel like they put way too much focus on KD. Okay, we talk about the Suns. You've got some star players. You've got Chris Paul,
right?
You've got Devin Booker, but they are a team. You look at the Warriors, and they're the same way. Sure, they've got Steph Curry, but they play as a team. The Nets have a great team, but when KD is on the court, it is KD's game, and there's so much focus to getting him the ball, and he scores his points, and that's phenomenal. But like when we lose the team aspect, we lose the game. All I'm saying is that when KD's on the court, the Nets aren't playing at the level that they are capable of playing. They're number 9, number 10 in the power rankings right now. And yeah, KD's out, but they were sinking before that. So that's all I'm saying. Is he essential to the team? I'm not going to say he's not, but they've got to start playing team ball. It's not KD's game.
I'm loving the
You're going to make another clip of this. KD's going to come back out stone.bobson _ next.
And then give you another one. It's like, this is actually the stupidest take I've ever heard. Dude, I love it. I'm loving the passion. This passion wasn't here on episode 1, but you've come a long way, Tim. You've got so much, you're so opinionated on this right here that you've just gotten worked up. You're giving the audience what they want. They want to hear true takes from Tim. So I'm happy that we could give it to him this week. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Not a Sports Guy Podcast. Email us with any questions at Tim.
Oh, it's back to me again. You love doing this, don't you? Not a Sports Guy Podcast at gmail.com. That's G as in golf.
Okay.
Or G as in guy. You're not a sports guy.
Nice.
Gmail.com. I guess on that note, it's about time to get out of here. You've got some birthday wishes to make, don't you?
I do. And by the time everyone listens to this, it'll be a day after. But it's Clarissa's birthday, so happy early early birthday now, but by Friday, happy late birthday.
Listen, but, all y'all listening to this, just know that Clarissa follows our page. Show her some love.
Exactly.
Drop some comments for Clarissa. If you hate us, if you hate my hot takes, that's okay. This is about Clarissa. This episode dedicated to you, Clarissa.
There you go.
Does she listen? I hope she does.
She sometimes listens.
Sometimes.
Not
Make sure she listens to this.
Not mainly the basketball ones that are just a lot of basketball, but she did listen to the last episode.
Literally every episode with the exception of one. But okay, make sure she listens to this one.
She supports.
I'm dedicating this one to you, Clarissa. Well, either way, she looks at the page. You guys comment. Wish her happy birthday.
Yes.
Is that weird? Is that weird that we are asking our listeners to wish somebody who's not even on the show happy birthday?
But we're engaged. She's, it's the same as if
you're the same person. Yeah, you're one person now.
There you go. We're all one. All of us. So you're basically wishing all of us a happy birthday.
Okay, me too. Cool. I'm in on this. All right. Appreciate that.
We talked about your birthday the week before.
We did, and it's a little ways away. When is your birthday? We should talk about that.
May 28th.
Oh, dude, our birthdays are so close together.
Right? Exactly.
I had no idea.
Maybe we can have a little birthday party together at Chuck E. Cheese's.
That'd be so cute.
AKA I'm just the Rat Casino.
Oh, quite literally. Oh my goodness. What if we showed up to Chuck E. Cheese to celebrate our birthdays, and there he is up on stage playing a guitar? Are there Chuck E. Cheese's even still is that
Buford.
A thing anymore?
Yeah, in Buford, Georgia.
Georgia, Chuck E. Cheese.
Shout out.
Somewhere in between May 28th and June 7th, we are going to have a birthday there, Buford, Georgia. We'll post more details to come.
We hope you can all make it.
A Not a Sports Guy themed birthday party.
And everyone better be there.
And the rat will be giving out crypto.
And it's pizza.
Oh my goodness. Let's go.
We'll see everybody next week.
See ya.